Yes, just briefly, Chairman, I'd like to take a contrary position to the ASA. I think the decision to scale back by $1.85 billion the SPP was just undefendable in any way. It was the biggest scale back in history. It was the first scale back by any major financial institution. It's cost the retail investors $500 million in lost profits. It was directly contrary to what one of your competitors, ANZ, did a couple of weeks earlier. And then the chairman stands here and says he represents all shareholders. The clear evidence is that Mr Chaney has a bias in favour of the big end of town, the big institutional investors. And what has dismayed me more than anything else has been the hyperbole that he has employed in his arguments defending the indefensible. Earlier today, he claimed that if you had accepted the $1.85 billion of extra funds from your retail shareholders, he used the quote that it would reduce the dividend dramatically smaller. They were the words. The dividend would be dramatically smaller. Now, if you had accepted those 84 million extra shares, that would have comprised a miserly 4%. 4% of your total capital, $2.1 billion. And he sits there and says the entire dividend for all shareholders would be dramatically smaller if we had expanded our share capital by 4% by just doing what everyone else does. So what I find most objectionable is not the action, it's the cover-up, it's the arguments. He simply will not accept that he was wrong, that NAB was wrong, that you have gutted your small shareholders, and he should be looking about fixing the problem. Instead, he continues to argue with all these beat-ups and all this hyperbole and claim he looks after the small shareholders. So for these reasons, I think the only action... I don't want to be here today. I wrote to Mr Chaney after the Aviva acquisition and I said, please, sir, do an SPP to make up for what happened last December. And that was ignored, and you went and did another dilutive institutional placement, even after direct correspondence, pointing out how badly or how much, not how badly they were treated because they didn't get scaled back, but how much they'd been diluted. So anyway, I think we need to send the message to vote against Mr Chaney and get a broader message across the wider market to give him the biggest against vote that any top 10 chairman has ever had, which is a statement by the 450,000 aggrieved, diluted, small shareholders that we're not going to put up with this anymore. And if there is this enormous bias in favour of institutions, then retail investors will vote like they haven't voted before against you until you get the message and actually do something to fix the problem and not claim it's something to do with communications. It's nothing to do with communications. Look, it's all about the facts of what happened. Thank you.
Thank you. You've had a very good say. I don't think you should personalise this. I mean, if you have a grievance, and I understand that you feel aggrieved, it's with the board, it's not with the chairman, because the board makes these decisions, not a single person. So I would be glad if it wasn't personalised.